All right, this is the Wrestling Doctor here, and I'm sitting here with someone that has came all the way from Memphis to meet with me and talk. Not true, is it? You came here tonight to wrestle, didn't you?
I did. I don't mind talking to you. You've been pretty nice to me so far, so we're okay.
I'm going to be nice. This is Eric Wayne. Let me tell you something. I always say that the guys are good that talk to me, but this guy is an exceptional athlete. This guy is a great athlete, and he paid me to say that. No, not really. Look, let me ask you something. Standard question: how long have you been in the business?
So do you want to know like how long I've been wrestling, how long I've been refereeing, when I was setting rings up, like actively wrestling? Is that what you?
No, tell me the beginning. How did you begin? How did you get into wrestling?
Okay, so I've been in wrestling for 29 years. I'm 29 years old, which means that my father was a wrestler, and his father was also a wrestler. My father was Ken Wayne. A lot of Florida people, a lot of people from Alabama, Continental. He was real big in Continental in the 80s. Traveled from Canada to Puerto Rico to California, a little bit down in Mexico. So that's my dad. His father is Buddy Wayne, real big in Memphis territory in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and even a little bit in the 90s. He wrestled there for a little while, and then he became a promoter because he realized the promoters make more money than a lot of the wrestlers do in most cases. So that's where I come from.
Third generation wrestler. Let me tell you what, the guy can go. You better be able to go. Third generation. So you've been in this business all your life.
Yeah, I remember going I went to Puerto Rico with my dad when I was 9 years old, and it was right after Eddie Gilbert died. My dad's the one that found Eddie Gilbert, as a matter of fact. Last person to see him alive, first person to see him when everything happened, unfortunately. But we're not going to talk about that. We want to talk about when I was in Puerto Rico, right? So 9 years old, we used to go out all the time. We wrestled 5-6 days a week down there. So here I am, 9 years old, 1994, and I'm living the dream. Like, I'm not wrestling, I'm not doing anything, but I'm making all the towns. In Puerto Rico, they have a law, as long as they don't sell you alcohol, they can give you whatever they want. So we used to go to Pizza City. It's an outdoor bar. And my dad went to the bathroom, bartender came over, slid me a beer. My dad came back, and the bartender, no sell, I only give. And it was like one of those little short, like 6-ounce beers. So I was able to drink that, and I wanted another one because my dad got another one. I'm 9 years old. I think this is awesome. I mean, I'm crowded bar, whatever, and we get ready to go. I've got half of that beer left. And my dad goes, all right, finish it. And to me, that's a lot of beer. And it's my second beer ever. So I get ready, start finishing that beer, and the whole bar notices a little 9-year-old kid chugging a beer. And they all start chanting, go, go, go in Spanish. And down there, when you do like something big happens, instead of cheering, they go, wah! So I finished the beer, I slammed the beer on the table, and they all, wah! And cheered, and we had to go home. So that was kind of my introduction into wrestling.
So you drinking beer, you were introduced to wrestling.
That was my introduction into wrestling.
Wow. Okay, well, let me ask you this question then.
Sure.
In your eyes, how has wrestling changed through the years? You're at 9, now you're 29, 20 years later from that point. How much change have you seen? I've seen a bunch, but I want to ask you.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of change. One of the biggest things is there's not as many places to go and wrestle anymore. It's gone from 5-6 days a week, twice a week on Sundays, to 4 times a month if you're lucky. I've seen a lot of guys that think that they can work out a little bit, look decent, and they'll go straight to the top. And no one wants to earn anything anymore. There's no wrestlers anymore. Everybody just wants to be a wrestler, and it's different. It doesn't sound like that's the same thing, but it's being a wrestler and being a wrestler is a lot different.
It is different. People don't understand that you spend hours. Whoa,
I'm good. I'm good. I meant to do that.
That was a bump.
No, 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 no. That's a half bump.
All right. So people don't understand that it's hours in the gym.
Right.
It's hours in the ring training.
It's a lifestyle.
It is.
You know,
it's a complete change. And you're right. The days have changed from the days when we did TV, and then you left TV and you worked that night.
Yep.
And you went to the next town,
Yep.
and the next town,
Yep.
and the next town, twice on Sunday, and then you got to go home if you were lucky.
Right. My parents divorced when I was real young, and I was used to being with my mom a lot. I'd see my dad. I'd go out of town with him sometimes, depending on where he was going, what the deal was. When I was like 5, I think, something like that, my parents actually divorced, and I didn't know for close to 2 months that they had divorced. I thought my dad was just on the road because I was, like I said, I was 5. I had no idea. That's how much my dad traveled and how often he would be on the road, gone. It took me almost a month to figure out, oh, he's gone because he's not living here, not because he's not necessarily on the road. And I just didn't know. Yeah, I just didn't know for a month what was going on until they finally explained it to me.
Okay, well, tell me this.
Okay.
If you had to start over again, first time in wrestling, did you get in a wrestling ring? Would you do it different?
No, not at all.
Exactly the same.
Exactly. It's made me who I am. There's not a moment that goes by every day of my life that I don't think about wrestling. I haven't thought about one of the craziest things that's ever happened to me of being on the road or anywhere or any matches, the people I've met. It's who I am. It's me. My girlfriend hates it sometimes because that's all I'm obsessed with wrestling. It's me.
It does. It's hard to sustain a relationship when wrestling is number one, and usually your significant other sometimes feels like they're number two. Right. It is hard for a wrestler to do that. Let me ask you this. Did your dad help you? Did he train you?
My dad's who trained me. I've been actively wrestling since 2015, so it'll be 9 years in November that I had my first match, actual, like, in the ring wrestling. I was refereeing when I was like 14, 13, something like that. I actually missed a week of school because my dad had to wrestle. We were going to go visit Adrian Street in Pensacola. Ended up staying like 5 days longer than we meant to.
At his school?
At his school, yeah, in Pensacola. We stayed in one of the apartments that they had. Yeah, it'll be 9 years in November, and hopefully at least 9 more.
Well, we hope so. We hope you got a lot more. Because he had a match tonight. I got to view it. Let me tell you, a hot match. He had people in the palm of his hand, and they hated his guts. I hate to tell you that, but they hated your guts.
I'm used to it.
Let me ask you one more question, and then we'll wrap it up.
All right.
Give some advice to some of the young wrestlers. I know you've already said to get into the gym.
Right.
But how can they get better learning this business? It's more than just the gym. It's more than travel. It's actually learning storylines. It's actually learning how to reach the audience and your facial expressions, your body movements. It's more than just what they see on TV. It's a bigger, harder job. Can you?
You kind of nailed it all on the head. Almost anything I can say. Gosh, probably the biggest mistake I ever made when I was a lot younger, my first like 2 or 3 years was I'd already been around it a lot. Like refereeing and stuff for about 5 years at that point. So I made that rookie mistake of talking when I should have been listening a lot of times because I would see things that were wrong, whether it was lack of training, lack of appearance, lack of skills, whatever it is. And instead of trying to learn and being quiet, which is the best thing you can do until someone asks you a question, really, I was one of those ones that was real outspoken. And it's gotten me in trouble at times. It's gotten me a lot of praise at times. But I would say the best thing you can do besides everything you said, training, traveling, meeting people that can teach you something different, is just asking questions and being quiet. If you have a question, the only thing you can do wrong is not ask a question. I would rather ask you something because I don't know. And then have you maybe, I don't care if you walk off and you talk about me like, that guy really just asked me that. Can you, because now I know the answer to my question. It might be something that's really simple, but if you don't know, you just don't know.
Right.
And it's better to ask and not do something wrong than to, oh, it's got to be okay. And you come to the back and everyone's telling you what you did wrong when you could have just taken 30 seconds and asked, is this okay? What do you think about this? Just listening and learning as much as you can. You never really stop, in my opinion.
I agree with that. Speak up, but speak up with respect.
Right.
You know, it makes a big difference. You want to ask a question, most veterans will be more than happy to help somebody.
Yeah, if there's anybody that's actually been in that position before, that they don't mind. Even the older guys, like a lot of people. I'm from Memphis, so Jerry Lawler's a real big name in wrestling, period. But in Memphis especially, and to some people come up to me and they tell me he's got this reputation of being rude or this or that. And then on the flip side, he's completely fine and jokes with me and talks about it. I've known him since I was 5 years old. You know, I threw a Coke in his face because someone told me to, and I didn't know any better, so I thought it was funny. I threw a Coke in Jerry Lawler's face and got in trouble for it because I just didn't know, you know, and I think he's forgot that, hopefully. But, yeah, I mean, everybody, you're going to catch them on a bad day.
Sure.
But there's nothing wrong with going up to somebody that you've seen on TV. Don't go up and ask them for a picture or an autograph. Like, I'm guilty of doing it sometimes. But that shouldn't be your first thought. Your first thought should be, excuse me, sir, I have this question. And 9 times out of 10, if they're not on the phone, they're not talking to somebody, they're just by themselves, they're going to take a minute to at least tell you something. And if they don't, at least you asked and tried.
Sure. Most wrestlers are human. We are human.
That's what blows everybody's minds about it is once you get past what you see in the ring, you realize everybody else is just as normal as we are. I remember being a couple of times I worked for WWE, and it blew my mind that those same people we see on TV are really no different than a lot of the guys in the locker room tonight. They've been doing it longer. They've maybe made more sacrifices, knew the right people, or whatever it was, but at the core of it, they're the same as we are. They're just on a bigger stage. That's all WWE is. It's just a really, really big, corporate, expensive indie show.
Yeah, and it's where we all wanted to go.
Exactly.
Get up to the top, make your money. Hey, listen, this has been a pleasure.
Thank
we
you.
could be here all night. I could swap stories, and I would love to do that sometime.
We'll have to later.
And,
when they're not listening, though. You might get both of us in trouble.
No, I think they'd like to hear it. But listen, the Wrestling Doctor is going to say so long. Eric Wayne wants to say see you too.
See you next time.